Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking about the most popular areas to live near Fort Meade Military Base in Maryland. So if you have orders to come out this way, or maybe you think that those might be coming soon, this video hopefully will be helpful for you and your family. And let's get started right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel, where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. So if that's the kind of information that you're looking for, then you are definitely in the right spot, and we really appreciate you being here. And if you are wondering whether purchasing a home here in the area is the right decision for you and your family, I know there's a lot going on in the marketplaces right now. We absolutely love having those conversations, answering any questions that you and your family might have about making a move here to Maryland. So however you feel comfortable reaching out, we'd absolutely love to talk and help out in any way that we can, whether that's by phone, text, or email. Days, nights, and weekends, we've got your back when moving here to the great state of Maryland. All right, so the first area I want to mention is going to be Odenton, Maryland. And this is a very popular area, largely in part to its proximity to Fort Meade. So you're looking at about 10 minutes, maybe a little more, to the Fort Meade Welcome Center on 175 and Reese Road there. And specifically, I see a very popular area within Odenton is Piney Orchard. Piney Orchard is going to be the largest planned community within Anne Arundel County. And because of that, it's, a big draw for families. It's very family friendly. If you've got kids, this is going to be a spot definitely to maybe consider or look into. It's mainly built out in the 90s, so it's fairly new. And it's got a great mixture of single family homes, townhomes, condos. It's got some apartments, some 55 plus communities. So it really has it all when it comes to housing for whatever people might be looking for and whatever's people their circumstance may be. So definitely an area to look into. There is a few things that you want to know about this community. As I mentioned, it's a planned community within Anne Arundel County, so it is going to come with basically like an HOA or kind of like a little tax, I guess you could call it, because it is charged based on the assessed value of the property, similar to the Columbia tax that I've kind of referenced a lot in other videos. So depending on if it's a townhome, single family, or a condo, it is going to be charged based on the assessed value. So a common range that you're going to see for the Piney Orchard Association fee is going to be from $250 on the lower side to maybe around $500 as you get into those single families. And that's going to be on a semi-annual basis, so paid twice a year. So one of people's favorite parts about Piney Orchard is the amenities that it comes with. So with the association as a member, you have access to the tennis courts, the fitness centers, the 3 outdoor pools that they have. They do have an indoor pool with a spa as well. And then Piney Orchard is very good about sponsoring and hosting activities. So you see things like Piney Orchard sponsored yard sales. You've got things like movie nights and things of that nature. So it's a very proactive and engaging community. So if you're looking for that, you want to be really close to Fort Meade, you've got family, a family with kids, things like that. This is definitely a community that is very popular for those things. And then the other thing with it being so close to the MARC train is if you're commuting down to DC, if you're going up to Baltimore for whatever reason, for work or just for social things or whatever that looks like, being that close to the MARC train is a huge asset and very convenient as well. All right, next few areas I want to mention is going to be Millersville, Severna Park, and Arnold. And as in that order, so Millersville, Severna Park, and then Arnold, you're going to get a little further away from Fort Meade, but all three are no more than 20 to 25 minutes away from Fort Meade. So if that's a reasonable driving distance for you, then these are areas definitely to maybe consider and to look more into. You've got Route 2, which is Ritchie Highway, cutting through all three of these, which just gives you access to the shopping and the retail because it's a pretty main highway there cutting through. So it's very nice for commuting. It takes you down to 50, which cuts you over to the Bay Bridge, and will cut you over to 495, which is Washington, D.C.'s Beltway. So good for commuting, good for shopping. And then it's also got some of Anne Arundel County's highest school ratings. So if you're looking to be near that, if you're looking to target that specifically, then these are definitely some areas that you want to look more into. All right, next area I want to mention that I see a lot of people going to over the years, especially military and people from the Fort Meade area, is going to be parts of Glen Burnie. Glen Burnie, depending on what part you're going to be in, is roughly 20 to 25 minutes away from Fort Meade. So most people that I talk to, they're more than willing to do up to a 30-minute commute. That's kind of common, that I see from people and that they communicate to me. So Glen Burnie is definitely going to be within that driving commute from Fort Meade. And one of the more popular areas within Fort Meade that I see is going to be the eastern part. off Marley Neck Boulevard, specifically around the Tanyard Springs community. So you've got some newer communities as well. You got Tanyard Shores, Tanyard Cove, and then you got Creekside Village. So these are all areas right around Marley Neck Boulevard that are very popular. They're newer, they're growing, and you see a lot of Fort Meade and military people specifically in these areas. So if you're looking to be around, community, especially people in the military community, in the Fort Meade community, you're going to find a lot of that in these areas. And then Tanyard Springs specifically is going to be the most popular one that I've seen people go to, because it's the kind of the more affordable one, because it's the oldest one right there in that section. When I say oldest, it's 2008, 2009, 2010, so not too old, but older than the surrounding areas right there in that general region. So this is a popular area, pretty reasonable homes. You're going to see a lot of townhomes in the threes, and then on up. You got some single families and a good mixture of housing in there. And then the amenities is something that people love, especially with kids. So you've got playgrounds, you've got a dog park, you've got walking trails, you've got basketball courts, baseball courts, so just a lot to do right there in that area. So a very popular area for families specifically coming to Fort Meade that they really like to look into. All right, next areas are going to be Gambrills and Crofton, and I mentioned these together just because they're kind of right on top of each other. So you've got Gambrills, which is not too big, but it is closer to Fort Meade than Crofton is. So there's, a lot of Gambrills is really only 15 minutes from Fort Meade. So, that's a solid area that I do see people going to. And then Crofton, just south, is going to be another popular area. And you've got Route 3 cutting through Crofton there. So you've got that's been really built up over the years. So you got a lot of shopping, a lot of retail, everything that you're going to need as far as that sort of thing is going to be right there on Route 3. And then I also see people kind of focusing on when they're looking at, having things to do nearby, so things like Annapolis, things like DC, Crofton's going to get you a little closer to those areas. So that's another reason why I think people are attracted to that. They just want to be a little closer to the water, a little, shorter of a drive to those things where you have more nightlife. You just have, in general, more things to do. So those two areas are definitely popular, and also still no more than 30-minute drive to Fort Meade. So another area to consider as well. And then another area that's been very popular with folks coming to Fort Meade is going to be Howard County. So this is going to be a little more of a drive, but not too bad. So all the areas that I'm mentioning here are no more than 30 minutes away. And Howard County is definitely going to fall within that, especially the areas that I'm going to mention here. So you've got people going to Columbia, Elkridge, and then you've got Hanover as well within Howard County. And then Ellicott City is going to be the furthest of these areas, but that's still another area that people are looking into as well. And the biggest thing with Howard County is that, they're just very well known for their schools. So when people start looking into the highest rated schools in the general Central Maryland area, a lot of times you're going to find that Howard County has that to offer. So these are popular areas that people are going to, especially when they're focusing on those schools. And then it's got a lot to do. So you've got Columbia is kind of the hub of Howard County. They've got a really big, mall with a ton of shopping, a lot of, places to eat, and just, very family friendly. They've got the Meriwether Post Pavilion and the Meriwether District there. So just a lot to do there in that general area, where if you kind of want that stuff nearby, Columbia is going to have that, and then thus Howard County is going to have that, because it's a pretty small county. So just about 320,000 people, not too big. So anywhere, if you're within any part of Howard County, you're really only about 15 minutes away from the Columbia hub there with all that stuff, the activities and all that they have to offer. So another area to look into, depending on what your situation is, depending on what you're focusing on, we still are seeing a lot of people going to Howard County. All right, and then last but not least is going to be Severn, Maryland. And this is super ideal location-wise to Fort Meade. So you've got the Welcome Center there on 175 and Reese Road. And then just north, you've got, Severn. So if you're looking to be super, super close, if you want a 5-minute commute to Fort Meade, then Severn's definitely going to be an area that you want to look into and see if it'll be a good fit for you and your family. So a couple areas that I wanted to kind of, specifically talk to that I've seen a lot of my clients go to over the years. One is going to be the community called Disney Estates. This is about a 5 to 6 minute commute to Fort Meade Welcome Center. So a very popular area. It's a single family area, and then you do have some townhomes nearby. So it's a good option for those two specifically. Pretty close to 175 again still. So you've got the shopping and you've got the accessibility to highways for commuting. and things like that. And then I also see a lot of families gravitating towards eastern and northern Severn. So as you get closer to 97, which is a highway that runs north-south, just seeing a lot of people head out that way and just be really happy with their move in that, you know, part of Severn. So you know, all these areas are going to be, you know, different. They're going to have different vibes and different, you know, pros and cons going for them. So if you are interested in coming to the area, if you want to have more specific conversations tailored to what your needs are and what you're looking for in a home here in the Central Maryland area, we're always available to have those conversations with you. However you feel comfortable reaching out, we're always available to assist. And thanks again for watching, and we'll see you at the next video.